Guys, you know how obsessed I am with like the dark stuff, the creepy stuff, the things that go bump in the night. But let me tell you, sometimes, real life is way more messed up than any horror movie. We're talking about cases that'll keep you up at night staring at the shadows in your room. These are the stories they don't want you to know about, the ones that are just too disturbing, too unexplainable, until now. Picture this, 1959, the freezing wilderness of the Ural Mountains, a place so remote and untouched it feels like stepping into another world. The snow blankets everything in a thick, suffocating silence, and the cold bites at your skin, no matter how many layers you wear. It's a place where nature reigns supreme, and humans are mere visitors. 9 experienced hikers, young and full of life, set out on an adventure. They were students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old radio engineering student. They were well prepared, equipped with the best gear available at the time, and had meticulously planned their route. This was supposed to be a challenging but manageable trek, a testament to their skills and endurance. They're never seen alive again. The search for them begins when they fail to return as scheduled. Friends, family, and fellow students grow increasingly worried. Rescue teams, including fellow students, local Mansi hunters, and the military, are dispatched to find them. What they discover is beyond anyone's worst nightmares. Okay, that's creepy, right? But it gets so much worse. The searchers find the group's tent, but it's not just abandoned, it's been slashed open from the inside. The hikers had fled into the freezing night without their shoes, coats, or any of their essential gear. It's as if they were running from something so terrifying that they didn't even take a moment to dress properly. Weeks later, their tent is found, slashed open from the inside. The scene is chaotic, with belongings scattered everywhere. It's clear that whatever happened, it was sudden and violent. The investigators are baffled. Why would experienced hikers, who knew the dangers of the wilderness, cut their way out of their only shelter in the middle of a blizzard? Like, what? Why would they cut their way out of the tent in the middle of a blizzard? The temperatures were well below freezing and the wind was howling. Leaving the tent in such conditions would be a death sentence. Yet that's exactly what they did. The footprints in the snow suggest they walked calmly, not ran, into the darkness. And the bodies, you guys, the bodies. They were found in various states of undress, some wearing only socks, others in their underwear. It's a phenomenon known as paradoxical undressing, where hypothermia victims feel a burning sensation and strip off their clothes. But there were other, more disturbing details. Some were found miles away from the campsite, barefoot, in the snow. Their bodies were scattered over a large area, some huddled together as if trying to stay warm, others lying alone. The positions of the bodies suggested they had tried to return to the tent but succumbed to the cold before they could make it. Some had weird, unexplainable injuries, crushed ribs, missing eyes. One guy, they found him with his tongue cut out. What the hell? The injuries were so severe that they couldn't have been caused by another human. The force required to cause such damage was likened to a car crash. Yet, there were no external wounds, no signs of a struggle. And get this, their clothes tested positive for radiation. Not just a little bit, but enough to raise serious questions. Where did the radiation come from? The area wasn't known for any radioactive activity, and the hikers had no reason to be carrying radioactive materials. This discovery added another layer of mystery to an already baffling case. Radiation. What were these kids mixed up in? Some theories suggest they stumbled upon a secret military experiment, perhaps involving radioactive weapons or equipment. The Cold War was in full swing, and the Soviet Union was known for its secrecy and willingness to sacrifice lives for the sake of progress. Theories range from secret government experiments to, like, some people think it was infrasound, you know, those low-frequency sounds that can make you go crazy. Infrasound can cause feelings of panic, dread, and even hallucinations. Could it have driven the hikers to madness, causing them to flee their tent in a state of terror? But honestly, guys, none of it really adds up. Every theory has its holes, and none can fully explain all the bizarre details. The case remains one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century, a puzzle that has fascinated and horrified people for decades. It's like something beyond our understanding wiped them out. Was it a natural phenomenon, a secret experiment gone wrong, or something more sinister? We may never know the truth, but the Dyatlov Pass Incident continues to haunt and intrigue us, a chilling reminder of the unknown lurking in the wilderness. Okay, this one messes with my head. It's one of those stories that you can't quite shake off no matter how hard you try. It lingers, it haunts, and it makes you question the very nature of human connection and the boundaries of the mind. We've all heard of twins who have that special connection, right? You know, the kind where they can finish each other's sentences or feel each other's pain. It's almost like they share a secret language, a bond that goes beyond the ordinary. But June and Jennifer Gibbons, they took it to a whole other level. Their connection was so intense, so exclusive, that it became almost impenetrable to the outside world. They were like two halves of a whole, inseparable and enigmatic. These identical twins, they refused to talk to anyone, except each other. Imagine that, living in a world where your only form of communication is with one other person. It's like they built an invisible wall around themselves, shutting everyone else out. They created their own language, a secret code that only they understood. It was their way of maintaining their unique bond, their private universe. This language was more than just words. It was a manifestation of their shared reality. They wrote these dark, disturbing stories, filled with violence and isolation. Their writings were a window into their troubled minds, revealing a world that was both fascinating and terrifying. It was as if their inner demons were spilling onto the pages. It's like they were trapped in their own little world. And that world was getting scarier by the day. Their isolation fed their fears, and their fears fed their isolation. It was a vicious cycle that seemed to have no end. They ended up in a mental institution, and that's where it gets really chilling. Imagine being so disconnected from reality that the only place for you is a mental institution. It's a place meant to heal, but for them, it became another layer of their nightmare. They made a pact, a death pact. This wasn't just a fleeting thought or a moment of despair, it was a calculated decision, a chilling agreement that one of them had to die so the other could be free. One twin had to die so the other could be free, to live a normal life. It's a concept that's hard to grasp, the idea that freedom could come at such a high cost. But for them it seemed like the only way out of their shared torment. And then, Jennifer, she just died. Out of nowhere. No explanation. It was as if their pact had some kind of supernatural power, as if their bond was so strong that it could defy the laws of nature. It was like their pact actually worked. Jennifer's death was sudden and mysterious, leaving everyone baffled. It was as if she had willingly given up her life for her sister, fulfilling their dark agreement. June, the surviving twin, she started talking. She became normal. It was as if a weight had been lifted off her shoulders, as if she had been released from a curse. She began to engage with the world in a way she never had before, like a switch had flipped. What the hell happened? How could such a drastic change occur so suddenly? It was as if Jennifer's death had unlocked something within June, allowing her to finally live a normal life. Did one twin literally sacrifice herself for the other? It's a question that haunts anyone who hears their story. The idea of such a profound sacrifice is both heartbreaking and terrifying. It makes you wonder about the depths of their bond and the lengths they were willing to go for each other. This story, it gets under your skin, you know? It makes you question the nature of reality, the power of the mind, and the mysteries of human connection. It's a tale that stays with you, long after you've heard it, leaving you with more questions than answers. Chapter 3. 1948, a beach in Australia. A man's body washes ashore. The scene is serene yet unsettling, the waves gently lapping at the shore as if whispering secrets. The man is dressed impeccably, almost as if he were heading to a formal event, but there's something off. He has no identification on him, no wallet, no papers, nothing to tell us who he is or where he came from. He's well dressed, looks like he's got money, but no ID, nothing. It's as if he's a ghost, a phantom who materialized out of nowhere. The authorities are baffled. Who is this man? Why is he here? And more importantly, how did he end up dead on this beach? It's like he just appeared out of thin air. No one saw him arrive, no one saw him struggle. It's as if he was placed there by some unseen hand. The mystery deepens as the investigation continues. But here's where it gets weird. As they search his clothing, they find something that sends chills down their spines. Hidden in his pocket, they find a tiny scrap of paper with the words, Tamam Shud written on it. It's a phrase that seems out of place, almost otherworldly. Turns out it's a phrase from this super rare book of Persian poetry, and it translates to, "It is finished." Okay, creepy, right? The book is called The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of quatrains that delve into themes of life, death, and existentialism. But hold on, it gets creepier. The book itself is rare, but the way the phrase was found is even more bizarre. They finally tracked down the book the phrase came from, and guess what? The book was found in the back seat of an unlocked car, parked near the beach where the man was discovered. It's almost as if someone wanted it to be found. Inside the cover, there's a secret code, a series of letters that seem to make no sense. It's like a puzzle waiting to be solved, a riddle that holds the key to the man's identity, like a real-life spy code, the kind you'd see in a James Bond movie. The authorities bring in cryptographers, code breakers, anyone who might be able to make sense of it. To this day, no one has been able to crack it. Who was this guy? Was he a spy? Was he involved in some clandestine operation? The questions are endless, and the answers are nowhere to be found. Did he have something to do with the book? Was he trying to send a message? Or was he the recipient of one? The layers of mystery keep piling up. And what does "it is finished" even mean? Is it a final statement, a declaration of the end? Or is it something more sinister? A signal that a mission was completed? This case is like a puzzle box from hell, and it just won't open. Every clue leads to more questions, and every answer seems to be just out of reach. The Tamam Shud case remains one of the most baffling mysteries of the 20th century, a story that continues to intrigue and haunt us to this day. Chapter 4. This one still freaks me out. So, there's this woman, right, and she gets a voicemail. Sounds normal enough, right, except it's from her friend, a friend who's been missing for days. The message starts with static, then these inhuman screams, like something out of your worst nightmare. And through the screaming you can barely make out a voice, her friend's voice, saying, "They're not human, I'm sorry," and then silence. The police, they couldn't explain the sounds, the voice, any of it. The missing friend, she was never seen again. What happened to her? Who took her, and what does it mean, they're not human? This voicemail, it's like a window into something terrifying, something we weren't meant to see. Outrow. These stories, they're just the tip of the iceberg. Real-life horror, the kind that chills you to the bone. It's out there, lurking in the shadows. So, I gotta ask, are these cases just messed up coincidences? Or is there something darker going on, something we can't explain? Have you guys ever heard of any real-life horror stories that just keep you up at night? Let me know in the comments, because, honestly, I'm kind of terrified to sleep right now. And don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying real-life mysteries, because, trust me, there's plenty more where that came from.